Welcome back to another Even Heroes Die devlog. This is a really exciting milestone for the project because I'm finally releasing the game's second playable demo. I've also finally created a Discord server for the game, so you can track the game's progress, leave feedback, and just generally hype the game amongst one another until you've all set unrealistically high expectations. I'll leave a link to the demo and the Discord in the description, so make sure you check those out and let me know what you think. Okay, so what's new? Well, mechanically, you can now dodge roll in midair, which is actually a huge game changer for movement. I don't know if the concept of a midair dodge roll really makes any sense, but let's face it, dodge rolling on its own never really made much sense to begin with. The game has always kept you pretty vulnerable in midair, but being able to dodge and propel yourself forward just a little bit feels really good. It looks pretty cool too. Just keep an eye on that stamina meter. Probably the biggest change is that I completely overhauled the curse, side effect, and vial systems. If you recall, there's a curse meter that steadily builds up as time passes, and consuming a vial will reset it. Depending on what you drink, you'll experience some kind of debuff, like losing max health or stamina. Instead of having your consumable vials intermixed with your equipable items, they're now treated as a separate entity. Vials now have their own set number of slots, meaning you can't just stock up on as many as you can find, though you can upgrade them by finding pouches. You might have to make difficult choices about which to take and which to leave behind. Consuming a potion will also now restore some of your health. Both of these changes give you an incentive to use your vials early, instead of just waiting until the last minute when the curse meter is nearly full. You'll have to weigh your options. Is it worth taking an extra debuff to free a vial slot? Or if your health is almost drained, will you drink a potion? Or risk searching just a bit more for a free heart? Speaking of these side effects and debuffs, I revamped all of them to try to make it clear exactly what debuffs have been applied to your character. You can see icons representing your various debuffs in the bottom left, and you can read their descriptions in the pause menu. As a side note, working on menus is probably my least favorite part of game dev. It's just not that fun to program, and getting a menu like this that wasn't a perfect grid was pretty tedious. Also, instead of using vials from the pause menu, there's a dedicated button now that you can hold to consume them. This way, you don't need to stop and fiddle with a menu every time you want to drink one. It's one less interruption to the gameplay. One thing I noticed as I kept replaying my demo was that I often forgot about the curse meter until it was too late. So I took the visual filter that shows when you're cursed and made it kick in earlier. That way, once you see the game's colors start to fade away, you know that you're running out of time. So you can start thinking about using a vial, or panicking because you don't have one. This creates a steady buildup of tension, instead of letting you forget about the timer, and then annoying you when the Reaper suddenly shows up. Speaking of which, the Reaper got a little visual overhaul, and the way that the curse is lifted has changed. Instead of simply running out the clock, you now have to kill a set number of enemies before the Reaper will leave you alone. The main reason I did this was to discourage things like camping and stalling, because that's ultimately what most players would end up doing. And if the optimal way to play is boring, the game is no longer fun. Now if you're planning on facing the Reaper, it might actually help to be in an area with a lot of enemies. And for me, that tension of trying to flee while you pick off enemies has been a lot more fun so far. Fast travel is now also fueled by your curse meter, instead of having another meter that you need to worry about. Creating a warp point or traveling to one will both cause your curse meter to fill up. You have to hold the button now to create a warp point, so you can clearly see what your meter will look like after you use it. And this red dotted line shows the point at which you won't have enough of your meter left to fast travel. So as the world's color starts to fade, you have until the meter reaches that dotted line to warp back to a shop and buy an extra vial. To balance out this change of the curse meter being used for fast travel, I've also made it so that killing enemies reduces the meter slightly. That way, you have a way to slow down your curse, and you aren't overly punished for stopping to battle enemies. Hopefully you can kind of see that with all these changes, I've really tried to trim a lot of the fat and encourage the game's curse system to feel more cohesive with the rest of the game. But wait, there's more. Whoa, no way, how'd he do that? Didn't that last devlog come out only like 2 months ago? This guy sure deserves a like and a subscribe. I also added some new level mechanics, things like breakable thorns, a poisonous swamp, and crumbling platforms for the forest area. In the mountain area, your temperature will now drop if you come unprepared. If it fully drops, you'll become frigid, which means your stamina bar won't recover anymore, until you can warm up again. There are plenty of hot springs scattered about to mitigate this, and you can always buy a scarf or find the fire element to ignore the cold weather altogether. but if you happen to be using the ice element, your temperature will drop twice as fast. There are plenty of new power-ups to find since the first demo, like the dash, hover boots, double jump, power glove, throwing axe. The demo has 3 areas available on 2 paths that branch from the hub. If you go right, you'll find the forest and forest dungeon areas, and if you go left, you'll reach a snowy mountain area. If you can make it to the end of each of those, then you win the demo. Congrats! In the final game, you'll need to beat each area at least once to reach the basic ending, and to get the true ending, you'll need to beat each area in a single run. The areas should be roughly equal in challenge level, but the difficulty curve will come naturally from accumulating all of those negative side effects when you try to beat them all in a single run. And that's it. Go check out the demo, and then be sure to let me know what you think by joining the game's Discord server. And as always, if you liked this video, please hit the like button and share it with your fellow indie game fans. It really does help me a lot. The more people that play the demo and leave feedback, the less sleep the more improvements I can make to the final product. Thanks a lot for watching, and it's time for me to get back to work. Back to work.